Okay. Well, getting back, when I enlisted into the Navy, it was and I had to go boot training, Newport, Rhode Island. In boot training at that time lasted like 5 weeks. After that, I was assigned to a ship, and the ship was in Casco Bay, Portland, Maine. So uh, the name of the ship was the USS Tillman. It was a destroyer, and the number of the ship was 641. Uh, the ship was on a shakedown cruise, and this was in July, and we headed south from Portland, Maine, down to Cuba. And from Cuba, we went to Bermuda. This is all on Atlantic Ocean. This is on a trial shakedown cruise. And then we wound up in Norfolk, Virginia, as in Chesapeake Bay. There, they were lining up ships, and we didn't know where we were going. It was like, oh, God knows, maybe 200 or 300 ships or more in the bay, and all alongside the East Coast. And they came from Boston, New York, and Virginia. And we set out to sea, which we never knew where we were going to go. And we headed across, and we wound up right off the coast of North Africa. And it started the invasion of Casablanca. So with the invasion, we're out at sea for about 6 weeks, coming back and forth. And we run out of food until we finally were lucky after the invasion to get food. And we made our way back across the ocean again to the East Coast, and then we set with another invasion. The next invasion was for the invasion of Sicily. So the invasion of Casablanca was all over. It was well secured. We won that, and so as we went to Sicily, we had to go through the Mediterranean. The Atlantic Ocean leads into the Mediterranean. On the left, on your port side is Greece and Italy, and there's the Rock of Gibraltar that we passed. And we were lucky we escaped. No casualties or anything, and we've seen a lot of planes being shot down, and that our boys were invading Sicily, and that we had to shoot our guns, at the German tanks that were coming over the hills, but we couldn't see from the ship because it's far. The distance was far. So after what we did, we escorted the big ships. Our ship, the destroyer's duty was to be on the outside flank to protect the big ships from getting attacked by submarines. Actually, a destroyer is like a submarine chaser. Try to, get the submarines, out of the way, So, with about 6 or 7 crossings, we're coming back in different parts of the East Coast. So I got transferred to another ship. It was a destroyer, and this time the ship was built in the same place as the first ship in Charleston, South Carolina. So I went down to Charleston, South Carolina, and got on the second ship, and there was only about 10 of us that got transferred, because they figured you had experience from the first ship. And so we had to go through the same thing again. We went to Cuba, and we went to Bermuda on the shakedown cruise. Bermuda was pretty nice. Some parts of Cuba was pretty nice too, you know. And so then finally the ship wound up in Boston, and then we were headed out to sea again. We headed south. So you're up from Boston, and they don't tell you where you're going. It's all secret material. And all I said, well, the captain says, look over to the right, and you can see New York and New Jersey far away. So you're not going to see it for a long time. So what does that mean? By the way, I figured it out. We were going Pacific. We were going south. We went south, kept going down till we came to Panama Canal. That's Florida. And we went through Panama Canal. Took a day just to get through the Panama Canal. See, with the locks and everything, it takes about 24 hours for a ship to go through. You know, even though it has a narrow passageway, you know, but you know, it still takes big ships. And very hot and humid down there, you know. So we came out of there, and then we're heading up north again. So where were we? If we were headed up north, and we were coming out of the Panama Canal, past Mexico, then we wound up in San Diego. And another destroyer and a carrier and the ship that I was on. So we were in San Diego for maybe one day, and then after that, we went out to sea again with a couple other ships and this here big aircraft carrier, and we headed to San Francisco. This is all in the Pacific Ocean. We got San Francisco. We weren't out there too long. We just took on stores. We went under the Golden Gate Bridge, all the several ships, included the big carrier and a cruiser and a battleship. And we were headed out for the mid-Pacific. And the first thing we hit, and where we set ashore, there was no fighting, was Hawaii. And so the ships anchored in there and everything, and we got to go on Liberty and seen Hawaii. You know, Hawaii was different during the war than what it is now. You know, they didn't have all the big hotels like they have now. So, because they had a lot of sunken ships from Pearl Harbor, you know, that were in there. So after that, after we were in Hawaii for about 24 hours or so, all the ships we headed out, and there was hundreds of ships, couldn't even count them. We went from one island to the other, and there was troop ships which had the Marines and soldiers, and then we invaded one island after the other. In fact, they're all written down, they're all here on type, you know, the island that we were on. Actually, I won't come out with it, but you can read this here thing here where it says Saipan, Tinian, Palau, and Sagaya Strait. See, when you see this here thing that's written, Sagaya Strait is the sea battle that we were in. And it was very scary. The sea battle, we lost a couple of ships, but the Japanese lost more. We sort of had them outnumbered, like 2 to 1. You could tell by the fire. It was like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. You could see the burst from the shells and the fire, that we had more firepower. And that's when we seen the live Japanese swimming in the water. We won that battle. We were lucky. And that was a big turning point in the war, the sea battle, you know? And after that, you'll read about the other places we went to after that, you know. So, in the end, after all these invasions, I finally I got back. I got transferred with another sailor. There was only two of us that got transferred off the ship with 325 men, and two of us got transferred. And lo and behold, I got a 30-day leave, and then after the 30-day leave, I went cross country by train. We didn't go by plane, and then they wanted to send me out on a third ship. But in turn, I sort of got a little lucky, and it was a receiving station. I seen some of my friends there standing in line, and I turned in the hospital there for combat fatigue. I figured I had, I went through 9 invasions and a sea battle. I says, eventually, if I went on a third ship, I said, my luck would probably run out. So how lucky can you be, you know? So I got shore duty. They assigned me to shore duty after I was in the Naval Hospital. And again, I was on a train back to New York and to New Jersey, where I got shore duty in New Jersey, which is right next to New York City. And we were pretty lucky, and that only lasted, the shore duty lasted about 2-3 months, and the war was over. Thankful for that. We were happy, you know, and that was the end. So that's about all I can say. You will have look at this here thing that when we crossed the equator on the mission of war, it'll tell you the whole thing, it's you go through initiation on the ship. All the sailors do that, whether it's on a naval ship or even some other ships, friendly ships, not in war. When they cross the equator, like the time zone changes 24 hours, and there you go through initiation. Once you go through initiation, you don't have to go through it again. You get this diploma. That diploma says you went through initiation. Then you're the one that gives the initiation after that. That's like going through a garbage bag, and they pound you or put little oil or grease in your hair with sand, and then you'd probably have to have it all cut off anyway. We had it all head shaved after that because it's almost impossible to wash it out. So that was the end of that, and that was a lot of fun, yeah. And the ribbons here, each one has a certain amount of stars, and the orange ones was the Pacific Theater, and the ones that are blue was in Atlantic. And for 9 stars, which included 8 invasions and a sea battle, that's the way you come on the 9 stars, you know? And that's about as far as all I can tell you. You know, that's it. Yeah? How's that sound?